You think you know Kratos, the Ghost of Sparta, the god slayer, the man who tore down the entire Greek pantheon with his bare hands. When we picture him, we see the ash-white skin, the permanent scowl, and a voice that rumbles with unending rage. He's the ultimate tragic anti-hero, right? A Spartan warrior tricked by the gods into murdering his family, who then turns that pain into a fire of vengeance that burns down the world. His story is one of rebellion, of defying fate, and waging war on the very gods who made him. For millions, he is the god of war. But what if I told you that's not the real story? What if the Kratos of ancient Greek mythology wasn't a rebel? What if he never fought the gods, never defied Zeus, and was never, ever from Sparta? What if the original Kratos wasn't a hero fighting against divine tyranny, but was the brutal, merciless muscle used to enforce it? Forget the video game. Forget the Ghost of Sparta. Today, we're going back thousands of years to find the story of the Kratos you've then never known. The real Kratos, Zeus's loyal attack dog, the divine personification of strength itself, and a figure way more chilling than any video game character. Part 1. The Kratos, you know. Before we dig up the ancient Kratos from the bedrock of myth, let's give a nod to the icon we all recognize. The Kratos from the God of War series is a masterclass in character creation, a modern myth built from the fragments of ancient tales. He starts as a Spartan captain, an incredible warrior leading his men to glory. But in a moment of pure desperation, facing certain defeat, he makes a deal with the devil. He screams out to Ares, the god of war, pledging his life for victory. Ares says yes and grafts the blades of chaos to Kratos' arms, turning him into the perfect, unstoppable killing machine. Of course, the price for that power is horrific. Ares tricks Kratos into a blind rage, and he slaughters a village. In his bloodlust, he doesn't just kill the villagers. He kills his own wife and daughter. The village oracle curses him, bonding the ashes of his family to his skin, that permanent, pale reminder of his greatest sin. He becomes the Ghost of Sparta, a man haunted and tormented forever. From there, his story is just a relentless, soul-crushing quest for vengeance. He serves the other gods for 10 long years, hoping for a peace that never comes. Finally, he turns that rage on his master, Ares, and in a cataclysmic battle, kills the god of war and takes his throne. But that's just the beginning. His journey reveals an even deeper betrayal. He's the son of Zeus, who sees him as just another threat in a long, bloody cycle of sons killing fathers. This Kratos declares war on all of Olympus. He screams to the heavens, "If all of Olympus will deny me my vengeance, then all of Olympus will die." And he makes good on that promise. He's a force of nature, a being of pure, undiluted rage fueled by grief. He's a complex character who, in his later years, even tries to find a quiet life and grapple with the monster he was. He's cruel and violent, yet we get the pain that drives him. He's a tragic hero whose rebellion feels righteous. This is the Kratos we know, but he's a modern invention. Now, let's meet the original. Part 2. The Pivot, a new origin. To find the mythological Kratos, you have to throw out everything we just talked about. The Spartan background, the dead family, the war with Ares, the secret of being Zeus' son, none of it is in the ancient texts. The original Kratos wasn't even a man, not really. He was an immortal warrior who became a god. He was born a divine being, or more specifically, a daimon, the divine personification of an idea. And the idea he embodied? Pure, unadulterated strength. His name, Kratos, in ancient Greek, literally means strength, might, and power. He had no temples, no cult, no one praying to him. He wasn't the kind of god you asked for a good harvest. He was more primal. He was the force you felt when a king's decree was carried out, the might that enforced the law, the raw power that maintained absolute order. And his loyalty wasn't to Sparta or to himself. It was to one being and one being alone, Zeus, king of the gods. Part 3. A family of power, the true bloodline. The family tree of the mythological Kratos is a far cry from some secret affair between Zeus and a mortal woman. His lineage is rooted in the very fabric of the cosmos. His father wasn't Zeus, but a titan named Pallas, a god of warfare. His mother was even more important. She was the goddess Styx, and if that name rings a bell, it should. She was the personification of the most sacred and terrifying river in the Greek world, the river Styx, which flowed through the underworld, marking the boundary between life and death. So Kratos was the son of a war god Titan and the fearsome goddess of the underworld, as most sacred river. A union of martial power and unbreakable, hateful obligation. And their children weren't some happy family. They were a terrifying collection of abstract concepts made real. Kratos had 3 siblings, each embodying a quality essential for a supreme ruler like Zeus. His brother was Zeus, the personification of zeal, rivalry, and intense dedication. He was ambition. Then there were his 2 sisters. The first was Bea, the personification of force and raw violence. If Kratos was strength, Bea was the violent application of that strength. And finally, his most famous sibling, Nike, the winged goddess of victory. Every time you see a statue of a winged woman, or hear her name associated with a new pair of shoes, you are seeing the sister of the mythological Kratos. Together, this squad, strength, force, zeal, and victory, were a package deal. They were what the poet Hesiod called Zeus's wonderful children, and they were about to play a key role in the most important war in Greek mythology. Part 4. The Titanomachi, choosing a side. To understand why Kratos was so fanatically loyal to Zeus, we have to go back to the war that defined the cosmos, the Titanomachi, the decade-long war between the Titans and the Olympians. Before Zeus, his father, the Titan Cronus, ruled the universe. Terrified of a prophecy that his own kids would overthrow him, Cronus swallowed each of them whole right after they were born. Only the youngest, Zeus, was saved. When Zeus grew up, he returned to challenge his dad and free his siblings, sparking a war that shook creation itself. Every deity had to choose a side, the old guard of the Titans or the new power of the Olympians. And this is where Kratos' mother, Styx, made a brilliant political move that would secure her children's future forever. On the advice of her own father, the Titan Oceanus, Styx chose to betray her own kind. She was the very first deity to show up on Mount Olympus, and she didn't come alone. She brought her 4 children Kratos, Bea, Zeus, and Nike, and pledged their unwavering loyalty to Zeus. Think about the strategic value here. At the very start of his rebellion, Zeus is gifted strength, force, zeal, and victory personified. It was a massive PR win and a huge boost to his war effort. Zeus, recognizing the value of this, made a promise. As a reward, Styx herself would become the great unbreakable oath of the gods. Any god who swore on the river Styx was bound by their word, or they'd face a terrible punishment. And for her children, Zeus offered an even bigger prize. He promised they would live with him always, as his constant companions, his honor guard, his personal enforcers. From that day on, Kratos and his siblings became extensions of Zeus's will. They were Zeus's muscle. Part 5. The Unfeeling Enforcer. The Punishment of Prometheus. For most of his existence, Kratos is a background figure. But there is one powerful, disturbing story where he steps into the spotlight and shows us who he really is. It's the tragedy of Prometheus Bound, written by the Athenian playwright Aeschylus. And it is here that we see the horrifying reality of the mythological Kratos. The story starts with a crime. The Titan Prometheus had a soft spot for the new human race, who Zeus mostly viewed with contempt. In defiance, Prometheus stole fire and gave it to mortals, giving them the tool of civilization. To Zeus, this was treason. His punishment for Prometheus had to be eternal, a warning to anyone else who dared to defy him. This is where Kratos comes in. The play opens in the desolate Scythian wilderness. Two figures, Kratos and his silent sister Baia, drag a third onto the stage, the titan Prometheus. With them is Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith. Zeus has given them one cruel job: chain Prometheus to a mountain crag for eternity, where an eagle will eat his liver every single day, only for it to regrow and the torment to repeat. But there's a problem. Hephaestus feels sorry for him. He knows Prometheus, their kin. He hates this task, his heart aching for the suffering he's about to inflict. And this is when Kratos speaks. His words are pure, chilling, remorseless power. He doesn't share Hephaestus's pity. He mocks it. He's the voice of Zeus's tyranny. What? Shrinking again and groaning over the enemies of Zeus? He sneers. To Kratos, pity is a weakness. Kratos isn't just a guard. He's the foreman of this torture, directing every brutal step. He orders Hephaestus to nail Prometheus's hands to the rock. When Hephaestus hesitates, Kratos barks. Strike harder, clamp him tight, leave nothing loose. He's the torturer who knows his victim and is determined to leave no chance of escape. He then commands Hephaestus to drive a steel wedge straight through Prometheus's chest. Hephaestus groans. Alas, Prometheus, I groan for your sufferings. But Kratos shows no emotion. His job is to enforce Zeus's will, and he does it with relish. He even agrees with Hephaestus that the new king is oppressive. But where Hephaestus sees a tragedy, Kratos sees the natural order of things. To him, only the ruler can be free. Throughout the scene, Kratos is defined by his absolute loyalty and his utter lack of empathy. He is what one scholar called the kind of uncomplicated thug for whom despotic regimes offer countless job opportunities. He's not evil in the sense of wanting chaos. He's the embodiment of brutal, unthinking order. He's the terrifying logic of totalitarianism made flesh. Justice is whatever the man in power says it is. As he stands over the chained Prometheus, he delivers one final mocking taunt. The gods who named you the Forethinker were mistaken. You'll need a forethinker now to wriggle your way out of this. With that, his work is done. He exits, having cemented his legacy not as a hero, but as the pitiless face of divine oppression. It's a chilling picture, isn't it? A far cry from the hero seeking redemption. The original Kratos reminds us that in mythology, concepts like strength are often morally neutral and can be terrifying without compassion. If you find this look into the true nature of mythological figures fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration of forgotten lore. Part 6, The Two Kratoses, a tale of two characters. So now we have two vastly different pictures of Kratos. On one hand, the god of war Kratos, the rebel, the tragic hero. On the other, the mythological Kratos, the divine enforcer, the loyal servant. Let's put them side by side, because the differences tell us so much about how we tell stories then and now. First, their nature. The game's Kratos is fundamentally human at his core. His rage, grief, and desire for revenge are all human emotions, just cranked up to a mythic level. He's a character studying trauma. The mythological Kratos isn't human at all. He's an abstraction. He doesn't have a personality so much as a function. He is strength. He doesn't need a backstory. His existence is his purpose. Second, their loyalty. The game's Kratos has one of the most famous father-son conflicts in gaming. His entire story is defined by his war against his father, Zeus. The mythological Kratos, son of Pallas and Styx, would find this idea insane. His loyalty to Zeus is absolute. The video game Kratos kills gods. The mythological Kratos serves them without question. Third, their personality. While the game's Kratos is violent and cruel, he's also tormented by it. He's haunted. There's no such conflict in the mythological Kratos. He is brutal, merciless, and completely untroubled by the pain he causes. There is no guilt, no remorse. He's a tool, and a tool doesn't question how it's used. Finally, their significance. In the grand scheme of Greek mythology, Kratos is a minor character. He has one memorable role in one surviving play, but that's about it. The Kratos of God of War, however, is a global pop culture phenomenon. What's wild is that the game's creators have said they weren't even aware of this mythological figure when they picked the name. They just chose the Greek word for strength, and in a stroke of cosmic coincidence, plucked a name from obscurity and accidentally gave it a new, much more famous life. Part 7. The Why. What mythological Kratos represents. So why did the ancient Greeks even create a character like the mythological Kratos? What purpose did he serve? He wasn't a hero to be admired or a simple villain to be hated. He was a symbol. Kratos represented the necessary, but terrifying, aspect of power. For a king like Zeus to rule a cosmos filled with rebellious titans and monsters, he couldn't just use diplomacy. He needed might. He needed strength. Kratos is that truth. He is the force that underpins law. The scene in Prometheus Bound is a brilliant piece of political commentary. Aeschylus used it to explore the nature of tyranny. Prometheus represents reason, compassion, and a spirit that champions the underdog. He's might for right. Kratos, on the other hand, represents might is right. He believes justice is simply the will of the ruler, and order must be maintained through fear. By personifying strength as this brutal, unthinking character, the Greeks could explore this complex idea. They acknowledged that power Kratos is essential, but they also warned what power becomes when it's divorced from wisdom and empathy. When strength is unchecked, when it serves a ruler without question, it becomes simple brutality. Kratos is the dark side of order, the fist inside the velvet glove of civilization. The journey from the mythological Kratos to the video game icon is a fascinating look at how stories change. The Ghost of Sparta is a character for our time, one who grapples with trauma, free will, and cycles of violence. His story resonates with modern audiences who love a rebel. He is a god killer. The original Kratos is a relic from a different age, a product of a culture wrestling with the fundamental nature of power. He's a creature of loyalty and brutal efficiency who would never dream of defying his king. He is a god's enforcer. One Kratos fights power, the other is power. One seeks to break the chains of fate, while the other forges them for others. So while we may cheer for the Ghost of Sparta, it's worth remembering his ancient namesake waiting in the shadows of myth. A stark, brutal reminder that sometimes the most frightening monster is the one who believes he's serving the greater good. So, which Kratos do you find more compelling? The tragic hero of the game, or the terrifying enforcer from the myth? And what other figures from mythology have been completely transformed by modern media? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.